Now, you find disputes all across the various fields of evolutionary biology, right? Whether you're in population genetics or you're looking at anatomy, there are lots of disputes. Now, let's deal with the core ideas here. The first thing is that natural selection is being challenged by some evolutionary biologists by a totally different paradigm. So, for example, we have James Shapiro, and again, not a religious scientist by any measure, and he believes that we can challenge Darwinism and have an alternative, and he thinks that is evolution by natural genetic engineering.
Right.
We have Eva Jablanka. She believes we can challenge Darwinism by neo-Lamarckism. We have people like Masayoshi Nai from Japan. He wants to challenge Darwinism and he wants to replace it with neo-mutationism. Now, what's very important about Masayoshi Nai is he says Darwin has become into a god in biology. Like, you can't challenge him, and Darwinism has become into a type of dogma. So he doesn't believe that all of these stories which are told about it and all of this, the efficacy of it, it doesn't add up. Likewise, Lynn Margulis, who I mentioned earlier, and we're going to get into this later.
Yeah.
She said, look, history is going to judge these neo-Darwinists as a Anglo-Saxon sect. She actually said this, right?
Well.
And she's not the only biologist saying that Darwinism is not just a scientific theory, it's become into a dogma, it's become into a religious worldview. In evolutionary psychology, they tried to give a Darwinian explanation for why men like the color blue and women like the color red. Right. So they said, in the ancient time when we used to live in hunter-gatherer societies, men that had a genetic mutation which made them like the color blue were more likely to survive. Why? Because when they go to the watering hole, it's blue. When they see a clear sky, is blue, so they're interacting with the color blue, so they're more likely to survive and enhance their fitness. Women are cutting meat, foraging, picking berries and apples, so they're dealing more with the color red. So the ones who have a mutation for a preference for the color red are more likely to survive. So they came up with this sophisticated hypothesis, right?
Oh.
Sounds kind of interesting. Then comes along this atheist philosopher, right? And he says, what on earth are you guys talking about? Firstly, this idea that men like the color blue and women like the color red is a very Eurocentric way of looking at the world, because this isn't true universally. Secondly, 150 years ago, during the Victorian era, in the good old days, men used to like the color red and women used to like the color blue. It was actually the opposite about 150 years ago. Wow. So this story is a just so story. So some evolutionary biologists, they wanted to challenge these Darwinian stories, these fairy tales, so they started labeling them just so stories. And that was such a powerful name for them that it's actually stuck around. So it's actually become into an academic term now, this idea of just so stories. And this just goes to show you how fiery the disputes actually are when it comes to the Darwinian explanations that they try and give us for whether it's color preference, behavior, or even sometimes anatomy.
If you enjoyed this video and everything else that OnePath does and would like to see us produce more content, then please support us. Go to www.onepathnetwork.com. You can support us from as little as $1 a day. Much love and appreciation, and may Allah bless you all.